Hello and welcome to another edition of Trotsky or Bust. It is, I think, the 29th of June. Just another day in the coronavirus. I was going to do this video a few days earlier. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I've been so busy doing nothing. It's about John Lewis. John sold his soul, Lewis. And if you're as nauseated as I was the last few days, everyone's just venerating him like he's the greatest thing since God knows what. This is John Lewis, and he's a cautionary tale because, yes, once upon a time he was a good guy. He did do good things, and then he was bought. He sold his soul. So the cautionary tale is if he could be bought, I suppose a lot of people couldn't be bought. Or more accurately, I'm sure there are a lot of people from the civil rights movement who didn't sell their soul. And we don't hear about them, obviously. We hear about those great ones who sold their soul. That's why they get airtime. And, John Lewis, he's the one a few years ago attacking Bernie Sanders' campaign, saying nothing's free in America, not healthcare, education, food, water, nothing's free. Unless, of course, it's corporate bailouts, because those are usually free. And it is such nonsense. And whoever said healthcare was free, we're going to single payer. Single payer means it's not free. All right? That means it's not free. The single payer being the government, us the taxpayers. That's what it means. But John Lewis has sold his soul, and go fuck himself. You can go rot in hell. If I believed in hell, unfortunately I don't. I mean, think about that. There are 5 million African Americans uninsured, and he lied about it. In fact, if you recall the campaign 4 years ago, he said, well, I never met Bernie Sanders during the civil rights movement. He never met Hillary either, because Hillary was a Goldwater girl at the time. But, no one calls him out, and everyone's afraid to call him out. Another thing that's not free is education. African Americans, when they graduate, on average, owe $7,400 more in student debt than white Americans, or everybody. I'm not sure if it's white or everybody else. Again, he lied there, saying that Bernie's plan would hurt black colleges, even though there was a special provision, and he knew there was a special provision. He didn't care. He was sold out through and through, and I see all the others. Sheila Jackson Lee, she was venerating him today. James Clyburn, because he's great. They say, hey, you know what? He sold his soul and he's great, so I must be great too. I guess they're convincing themselves. Not that who knows what goes on in their minds. They probably don't care. They're going to do well for themselves, their families, and that's all that matters. Country be damned, which is fine as long as you don't go into public service. Go to someplace else if that's how you feel. And of course the fake far left is saying nothing about this. They're saying, well, we don't agree with everything John Lewis has, but he was great in his day. You don't agree with what? What, selling your soul? You disagree with that? That's a disagreement? Nah. That shows you the fake far left. And, and what they've also been doing, if you've noticed, if you're watching it, they're not talking about third party. There's no third party candidate. Biden will be terrible. Biden will be terrible. Of course Biden's terrible. We know that. They're both crap. They're both shit. They're both rapists. They're both liars. They're not playing with a full deck. They've both spent their entire lives screwing over working people. But, there's no third party. You don't want to raise somebody up who might actually get traction, even if not this election, next one. Instead, they're attacking the Democratic platform. And, of course, Israel, the most important thing is, they try to get against the occupation, something banning settlements, because, nobody in America is an occupier. No one in the Western Hemisphere is an occupier, Let's put that in. Every time they bring up Israel, anti-Semitism is a distraction. That's what bigotry is, especially anti-Semitism. So, of course, they're going to distract us, talk about that, try to pin that anti-Semitic, the bigot label on the left. Don't trust these people, not the Jimmy Dore, the Krystal Ball. Krystal Ball was funny. She went on Bill Maher. This is an apartheid state. So you should have asked her if she even knows what that means. I mean, how is an apartheid state? I don't know. Right. Okay. So these people are not leftists. They're fifth columnists. And, it's, and just to bring up Israel, I mean, right here we are in the middle of the coronavirus. If that's not bad enough, if all the job losses aren't bad enough, people lost their jobs, their health care, they're getting evicted. But the thing they care most about is the occupied territories. That comes first. Let's talk about that. Yeah, okay. And Krystal Ball works for the Moonies. That's who owns the station, The Hill. The Moonies are worth over $3 billion. So, these are the people who are already easing us into the Biden administration. That's all they're doing. To say, Biden's not going to do anything, and it's going to be bad. And we know it's going to be bad. Why don't you do something now? Why don't you find a third-party candidate, anybody? Let's do something about this. Not just say, wait for Biden to get elected. What's going to happen when Biden's elected? He's going to do nothing. Nothing. All right? And in 2 years, their pumpkins will regain one of the houses of Congress. And then, hey, he's got his excuse not doing anything, just like Obama did. All right? And then and then right after the midterm, we're going right back into election. And then they'll have AOC or somebody. No, I guess Biden's the president. No one can be running. Unless I guess Biden won't be running. It'll be his VP, Kamala Harris. That would be great. Won't that be great? So, the fake far left, every time they bring up Israel, it's to distract. It's to talk, hey, let's not talk about the fact that we're not trying to find a third candidate. Just talk about how bad Biden and Trump are. Oh, gee, thanks. Gee, thanks. That's about it. That's all I have to talk about. Not much to talk about. We know about